जस हिंदी देखते हुए सारे दर्शकों को मेरी तरफ से प्यार भरी नमस्कार। मैं आशमिता और आप देख रहे हैं स्ट्रेट टॉक। जब हमारी बात कोविड रिलेटेड इम्पैक्ट्स डिफरेंट सेक्टर्स पे शुरू होती है, ऑफ कोर्स हेल्थ क्राइसिस, हेल्थ सेक्टर इज़ इम्पैक्टेड, द इकोनॉमी इज़ इम्पैक्टेड, बट इस चीज़ के इम्पैक्ट्स ऑन और किस किस चीज़ों पे आज की डेट पे हमें देखने को मिल रहे हैं। वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट थिंग्स दैट हैज़ बिन इम्पैक्टेड हैज़ बिन द एजुकेशन सिस्टम, एंड इस चीज़ को आज की डेट में ज़्यादा प्रायोरिटी नहीं कोई दे रहा, बिकॉज ऑफ कोर्स द क्राइसिस इज फोकस्ड ऑन ट्रीटिंग एंड क्यूरिंग दिस वायरस, stopping the spread and saving the economy. But we have to talk about the school system, the education system, and किस तरह ये sector भी impact हो रहा है, not just from a operational, logistical standpoint के schools सारे बंद हैं, बच्चे घर में बैठे हैं, parents काम पे नहीं जा सकते because उनको बच्चों को देखने के लिए कोई घर में नहीं है, not just that aspect, but now as we move into the fall, देखिए जब तक तो ये 2-3 हफ्ते, 4-5 हफ्ते, 2 महीने की टेम्परेरी चीज़ थी, वो फिर भी लोगों से बर्दाश्त होगी, बट people are very hesitant to accept or even consider the fact कि ये जो कोरोना वायरस रिलेटेड शटडाउन्स, क्वारंटीन्स या सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग मेजर्स हैं, हमें सितंबर नवंबर तक भी करने पड़ेंगे शायद। सो इस चीज़ को थोड़ा सा डिस्कस करने के लिए एंड ये फाइंड आउट करने के लिए कि कितनी हमें कंसर्न होना चाहिए about the schools, about the universities, about students going into the school year, into the fall, किस लेवल का हमें कंसर्न होना चाहिए इस चीज़ बारे में। आज हमारी कन्वर्सेशन उस टॉपिक पे होगी। I want to start this topic once again with the big news today coming out of California. Cal State, which is the California State College System, the statewide public university system, announces that they will be conducting the fall semester, 2020 fall semester, entirely online. Once again, you can see this news. ये सिर्फ California related news नहीं है, because Cal State, California State University System, it is the largest university 4-year public school system in the United States. For them to shut down, for them to announce publicly today that their fall semester will be entirely conducted online is a very big announcement, not just for obviously all of the students and faculty who are part of the Cal State system, but for colleges and universities nationwide. आप ये सोच सकते हैं कि जो California State University system की तरफ से आज announcement release हुई है, वो पूरे country के universities को एक तरह से guidance देगी कि हमें क्या करना चाहिए come the fall. Once again, the California University system, the largest 4-year public school system in the United States, announces that they will conduct their fall semester entirely online. इसकी क्या consequences हैं? क्या हमें पता होना चाहिए? How is this going to affect the other schools and universities जो ये same सवाल आज consider कर रहे हैं कि उनको क्या करना चाहिए come the fall? You know, once again, California State is a good example of what people need to be doing. Yes, they are the largest. California State school system has about 23 campuses all over the state, and almost 500,000 people come together, चाहे वो students हो, faculty हो, workers, employees. Almost 500,000 people associated with the Cal State University system come together on a daily basis. So आप समझ सकते हैं, for them to announce a full opening come the fall is something that at least this school system is not ready to do. You know, considering the timing of this announcement, right? हमें ये ज़रूर पूछना चाहिए कि आज ही क्यों California State ने ये चीज़ announce की? काफ़ी schools, even other school systems in California, have not made such announcements yet, and a lot of universities, जो big private universities हैं, अभी wait कर रही हैं कि किस तरह जो science है, जो preventative cures and treatments develop हो रहे हैं, वो किस तरह progress होते हैं fall semester के decision लेने से पहले. But California State announcing today is a big deal. क्यों उन्होंने आज announce किया? Well, one reason is probably because of the testimony that Dr. Fauci and other medical professionals gave yesterday in the Senate. ज़रूर आपने खबरों में सुना होगा, headlines काफ़ी इस चीज़ को highlight कर रही थी that Dr. Anthony Fauci, जो इस क्राइसिस में एक लीडर के तौर से इमर्ज हो रहे हैं, उन्होंने क्या कहा जब उनको सेनेट में बुलाया गया टेस्टिफाई करने के लिए अबाउट द क्राइसिस एंड किस तरह यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स रिस्पॉन्ड कर रही है, हैंडल कर रही है एंड प्रिपेयर्ड है इन द कमिंग मंथ्स टू डील विद दिस, राइट? ऑफ कोर्स देयर इज कन्फ्लिक्टिंग कॉन्ट्रडिक्टोरी स्टेटमेंट्स, चाहे वो वाइट हाउस से हो या एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन से या government experts and officials, but Dr. Anthony Fauci and his medical experts testified that agar United States carefully nahi reopen hota, then we absolutely can expect a second wave of coronavirus cases, of COVID-19 cases in the fall. And consider that फॉल में वैसे ही फ्लू सीज़न शुरू हो जाता है. सो अगर हम एक सेकेंड वेव टाइमिंग वाइज फॉल में एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हैं एज वेल एज द रेगुलर फ्लू सीज़न, यू कंबाइन दैट विद universities, colleges, high schools everywhere reopening, what kind of danger that can possess, not just for the students that go back into these environments, but उन students की family members, उनके जो surrounding में individuals जिनके साथ वो interact करते हैं, चाहे वो parents हों, उनके family members, or just everyday interactions with people, right? So this is something that is gonna be growing into a bigger problem than anyone is anticipating, because जिस तरह अभी तक हर एक चीज़ track पे चल रही है, it does not seem that come September कि coronavirus या कोविड के जो केसेस हैं या कोविड की जो ट्रीटमेंट है उसमें कोई ब्रेक थ्रू होगा जहाँ पे लोग सेफली बाहर जाके एक दूसरे के साथ इंटरेक्ट कर सके. एंड दैट डजंट जस्ट मीन गोइंग टू वर्क, दैट मीन्स गोइंग टू स्कूल एज वेल. इस टॉपिक पे आपके साथ हम डिस्कस करेंगे जो बाकी हेडलाइंस हैं एंड ऑल्सो गेट द पर्सपेक्टिव्स ऑफ सम स्टूडेंट्स गोइंग थ्रू दिस प्रॉब्लम राइट नाउ. बट यहाँ पे हम ब्रेक के लिए रुक रहे हैं. कीप वॉचिंग, विल बी राइट बैक आफ्टर द ब्रेक. Welcome back from the break. You're watching Straight Talk. मैं आशमिता आपके साथ आज का टॉपिक डिस्कस कर रही हूँ, कैसे कोविड-19 हायर एजुकेशन को यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स में इम्पैक्ट करेगा. जब as we are getting into the end of the spring school year, schools are closed across the country, चाहे वो हाई स्कूल्स हो, प्राइमरी स्कूल्स या यूनिवर्सिटीज़ एंड कॉलेजेस. जहाँ यूनिवर्सिटीज़ एंड कॉलेजेस की बात आती है, a lot of the learning has been conducted online, but जब कोई स्टूडेंट फुल ट्यूशन दे के इन पर्सन यूनिवर्सिटी में, प्राइवेट यूनिवर्सिटी में एनरोल होते हैं, दे आर एक्सपेक्टिंग एन इन पर्सन एक्सपीरियंस. दे आर नॉट एक्सपेक्टिंग दैट देयर फुल स्कूल ईयर विल बी कंडक्टेड ऑनलाइन. व्हाइल ऑनलाइन टेक्नोलॉजी हमें आजकल बहुत प्रोविजंस प्रोवाइड करती है, इट डज नॉट रिप्लेस द इन पर्सन लर्निंग दैट पीपल पे बिग डॉलर्स फॉर एट अमेरिकन यूनिवर्सिटी. सो दिस इज अ थिंग दैट इज इन जेपरिटी ऑफ कमिंग बैक इन द फॉल. जैसे ब्रेक से पहले आपको बताया था, Cal State University system, the California State University system, the largest four-year public school system in the United States, announced today that they will not be resuming in-person classes in the fall, that their entire fall semester will be conducted online. How do the rest of the universities in the country feel about that? आप screen पे देख सकते हैं graph from the Chronicle of Higher Education that shows that most of the universities are right now considering some kind of in-person opening. जो green graph में chart में आप देख सकते हैं, जो green portion है, that's school systems planning to open in person. It's almost 70% of the United States universities looking to open in person in the fall. But recent announcements from medical experts, जैसे कल ही Anthony Fauci, Dr. Anthony Fauci ने Senate में testify किया that he is not convinced that we can reopen without devastating health consequences. And Dr. Fauci का ये भी कहना है कि अगर second wave होती है, उसकी timing, अगर COVID की second wave आती है United States में, उसकी timing बिल्कुल coincide कर सकती है with the flu season in the fall and the opening of schools and the opening of different sports entities that exist. But जहाँ पे schools की बात आती है, you know, I think students themselves have the best perspective to share कि वो उन पे क्या बीत रही है आज की डेट में, जब उनका current school year already बंद हो गया है, fall की किसी को ज़्यादा information नहीं है. आज इस announcement के बाद students क्या सोच रहे हैं? So इस बात पे अपने perspective share करने के लिए आज हमें एक student join कर रहे हैं. I would like to welcome Miss Kayla from Long Island, New York, onto the program. Kayla, before we get started, we've already updated the viewers on the latest headline regarding Cal State. You are a soon-to-be graduating high school senior. You have accepted your admission at a private university in New York City. First and foremost, how are you doing? First of all, are you excited that you're going to be graduating high school soon? And what does that look like during quarantine?
I definitely am excited, but the only thing is the graduation plans are very up in the air right now.
Okay.
They have a bunch of different alternatives. One is a Zoom graduation. They're having this option where we could walk across the field with a spotlight on us, and then they're going to make a video and put it all together.
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically all that they have planned for graduation.
Wow, that's got to be quite an interesting thing, a Zoom graduation. I can't even imagine. But Kayla, so tell us a little bit about what the fall looks like for you right now. So you have accepted to this private university. There's a lot of stuff that's on the line, especially you'd be an incoming freshman in college, right? So this is a first-time experience for you. What information have you gotten from the university that you're planning to attend in the fall regarding their opening?
So the university has been a little vague about that just because everyone just kind of doesn't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I do wish that we could see what's going to happen because I would hate to pay all this tuition just to have another online experience for college,
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to, you are clearly a savvy teenager because you really hit the nail right on the head with the tuition issue. But, once again, at the end of the day, this is a health crisis that we are going through, right? So say the university says to you, we are going to open, we're going to do in person, right? We were just sharing a graph with our viewers that shows that the majority of the schools in the United States right now are considering opening in person in the fall. If your university goes that route, would you feel safe going to classes in person?
I think at my particular university, I would feel safe because it is a private university. It's a lot smaller classes, a little more space in between students. But I can't speak for someone going to a public university with larger lectures, bigger class. I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, absolutely. And, once again, it's good to hear that you're focused on classes, but what about all the other recreational activities, right? Your tuition, especially when you go to a private school, I'm sure you've had some form of tours and, communication with the colleges about, look at all of these extracurricular benefits, right? Look at the dining halls, look at the football games, look at the gymnasium, look at all these extra things you do outside of class, right? The rec centers. How would you feel about that in this kind of a situation?
I feel like a big part of going to a private university is taking a part in all those activities. And I don't really know how those would be functional without large groups of people, like football games or pep rallies, stuff like that. I don't know how that would work, and it wouldn't feel like the full college experience to me.
Yeah, I think that's what we're starting to hear more and more, that college experience that is so integral to the American experience overall, I guess, right? Especially for a young person who's worked hard to get into a school, who's, gone through all of the hoops that you have to jump through as a high school individual to get to a good top tier university. Kayla, I guess my next question is, come the fall, what level of extra measures would a university have to take? Have you thought at all about what kind of safety precautions, for example, would make you feel safe? Or, as an individual, ultimately, is it going to be the vaccine coming out for COVID, being mass marketed, being tested and efficient, that will truly make you feel safe going back into those kind of situations?
I feel like the only way I would be 100% comfortable is if there was a vaccine out, if there was a flattening the curve, if social distancing was seriously implemented at that school. I feel like that's the only way to ensure it would be 100% safe.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Kayla, we're very interested to keep hearing about your perspective and a little bit about what college, age students all across the country are experiencing. We're going to stop for a quick break right here. Kayla, don't go anywhere. बाकी viewers आप भी जुड़े रहो. हम यहाँ पे एक छोटी सी break के लिए pause जरूर करें, but discussion ऐसे ही जारी रहेगी. We'll meet you after the break. Welcome back from the break. आप देख रहे हैं Straight Talk. मैं आश्मिता. Discussion हो रही है how is COVID impacting higher education in the United States. आज जो recent update headline इस topic पे release हुई है. California State University system announces that they will not resume in-person classes in the fall. This is a big deal because California University state system is the largest four-year public university system in the United States. उनकी lead को शायद और different universities follow करे. आज की डेट में ज़्यादातर यूनिवर्सिटीज़ ने इस तरफ कोई डिसीजन नहीं लिया. California State being the biggest system to do so. But how is this impacting the actual students, especially ones जिन्होंने अभी अपना कॉलेज एक्सपीरियंस शुरू ही नहीं किया. इसी बात पे अपनी थोड़ी सी पर्सपेक्टिव शेयर करने के लिए हमारे गेस्ट हमें ज्वाइन करें. Kayla, who is a high school senior, soon to be high school graduate from Long Island, New York. Kayla, welcome back to the program. Kayla?
Huh?
Yes, welcome back to the program. You must be excited about at least finishing up high school, right? You're going to be graduating soon?
Of course. I don't know how I'm going to graduate, but eventually.
I'm sure you're not the only one trying to figure that out. And you're on the receiving end. There's entire school systems and administrations that haven't figured that out. So don't be too hard on yourself. Kayla, we were talking a little bit about what kind of communication you've been receiving from the private university that you've chosen to attend this fall. You will be an incoming freshman in college. So this is kind of a momentous occasion, but also, there's so many things that are unclear about what that looks like. You shared with us what this university has kind of shared with you as a student about the openings and what the fall semester could look like. Once again, just to recap, right now, your university is communicating that you will be having in-person classes in the fall.
Yes, as of right now, they're planning to reopen in the fall.
Okay. Kayla, I want to know, of course, when the reopening question is discussed, there's a lot of, prevalence of the health guidance and what kind of safety measures need to be implemented. So, where universities, cities, states are reopening, they're not putting their, individuals, their citizens at risk. You said that you're pretty comfortable with the kind of measures that your university has indicated they're willing to take, but at the end of the day, it's a public versus private issue for you.
Yes.
So yeah, go ahead.
I feel like public universities have it a lot harder because of the bigger class sizes and ratios of students to teachers. I don't really know how that would work in this case.
Yeah. Kayla, all of this, when this pandemic and the quarantine, all of these kind of events started, unfolding, you were in the middle of, completing your high school senior year, but you were also, from a timing perspective, in the middle of deciding what college to attend. I mean, anyone who's familiar with the U.S. school system, especially, transitioning from high school to college, knows that the spring portion of your senior year is when you make that big decision of where you'll go to college in the fall. How did you handle making that decision during all of this quarantine and pandemic-related outbreaks that were taking place?
For me, I felt like it was super important to me to choose the school which I felt handled the situation best. So the school that was trying to reach out to students to see how they were doing, that was giving them resources for help if they felt stressed. I feel like that made my decision on where to go to school very clear for me.
Right. Now, you've kind of showed us what the positives were. The school that you chose to attend was the one that did all these things right? They offered the resources, like you said. They made an effort to work with you in this situation. What did you experience from some of the other schools that didn't respond so well?
A lot of the other schools just took a very long time to shut down, I feel. And they also were not posting like a lot of resources. That's what I was noticing. they just overall, they gave off the vibe to me that they were very much concerned about their money, like their tuition being paid.
Yeah.
I feel like that was more of their concern, you know?
Right. And I guess, it should be noted here that, it's one thing when schools are criticized from experts and high-level officials about coming off as businesses, but it's another thing, when students, especially at your age, you're 17 going on to 18, you're a high school senior, looking to be a college freshman in the fall, even at your age, this kind of, positioning is very obvious. You can recognize that a school is just chasing their tuition, that they don't, that they aren't actually there for you in terms of support and resources.
Yes, that was really clear to me in some of the colleges that I had applied to.
Right. Kayla, now this is, the big question that everyone will be struggling with in the coming weeks and months, especially, people in your shoes. Say that your university, which up until right now has not announced that it will be online in the fall. Say they do announce that in the coming weeks, depending on how the coronavirus cases play out, right, across the country. Say they go the online route. Right now, the amount of tuition that you're committed to pay is for an in-person student. How would you feel about the tuition paying full price for essentially getting, just an online education? I mean, everyone knows that the online classes and schools that are currently available in the United States, the tuition varies greatly from some of these legacy, brick and mortar university systems like we see.
I feel like if my university were to go the online route, I would expect a drop in the tuition, just because online school is usually something that the student chooses to do because it's convenient for them. I don't think that this is like online school is convenient for everybody because not everybody has an environment in their home where they can work from,
Wow, yeah, absolutely. And it also is, depends on the subject matter. Not all subjects you can properly teach around in an online environment, which, brings me to my next question. So where you are in Long Island, New York, the closures came, staggeringly between March and April in terms of your school shutting down. So pretty much since April, give or take, you've been doing online learning with your high school. Just share with our viewers, what has that experience been like?
For me personally, I had already experienced online learning because a lot of my work was already online. It was just harder for the subjects that normally wouldn't be taught online, like math, science, like that was a little more course heavy, and I feel like I needed to be in school to do well in those subjects.
Right. And how much of that is that one-on-one interaction that you have with teachers, right? How did you feel that was managed by some of these, schools or different teachers? Did you feel that, you were able to have those one-on-one interactions, or do you feel that the online model just doesn't facilitate for that?
So my school created a schedule very late into online learning where it was 4 days a week alternating between online classes and just work being posted.
Okay.
And then on Fridays, you could have one-on-one sessions with a teacher if you emailed. Like they were supposed to be available for help.
And do you feel that this was a good format? Were you happy with this format in terms of receiving the amount of education and the amount of attention you need to understand these subjects?
For me, I felt like it was a good amount. The only thing that I feel like I missed out on was review for like my AP subject test.
Right.
Like I feel like I could have had a little more for that.
Right. And you've brought up another good point, the AP tests, right, which are such a increasingly large part of high school seniors' workload, study load, and you do well on these AP tests, you get college credit, right? So have you heard any information about how those are going to transfer? These tests now, these big AP tests, usually take place around now, right, in May, depending on the schools. What has the AP testing board, provided you in terms of information around this?
So I actually took 2 AP tests as of today. They were both I found the experience a lot easier just because I had the resources. Basically, you could either take a picture of your responses and submit them, or upload or copy and paste your responses from another document. I found it easy because I didn't have technical issues, but I know a lot of students did.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of it got messed up, but they offer retesting.
Okay.
And you could retake the test for it.
What kind of technical issues, I'm just curious, were some of your peers experiencing?
So some people, like, either their computer wasn't working or they ran out of time in between copying and pasting it to the answer sheet. I think that was a lot of it. Or everyone has an AP number that they have to put at the top of their response. And a lot of students forgot because they were so flustered about the time.
Yeah, I think, that's definitely going to be something that as that develops, we will, have to come back and discuss that because, like you said, so you've taken 2 APs as of today. In a traditional setting, if you can share with us, obviously, if none of this COVID stuff had happened, how long before you usually find out the results of your AP tests?
So as far as I know, as of right now, they did let me know that they would give me my scores in mid-July, which is usually when they come out anyway.
Okay.
But I don't know how that's going to go because of retesting and all of that.
Right. And there, they might have limited resources as well. But for all intents and purposes, as far as getting AP credits, if, you test accordingly, right now, it's been communicated to you that that will proceed as it's supposed to, that, if you do well on these tests that you've taken now remotely, that you will get college credit for these subjects.
Yes, so as of right now, colleges are still accepting AP scores. They did offer us the option to opt out of the exams if we didn't feel comfortable taking them at home or just didn't want to take them and wanted a refund for the money we paid.
Right.
But obviously colleges haven't changed their policies on accepting. There's no penalty against you not taking it. It can only help you if you do well.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's, I think, very important to highlight here that, depending on the AP exam and what kind of a environment you have, it is worth it to go ahead and take that because you may be getting college credit, which is very, very important. Kayla, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your experience as a current high school senior, soon to be graduate, and college freshman in the fall. Any closing messages for our viewers about your experience so far and what you're looking forward to come September?
I think that the biggest advice I would give someone in the same position as me right now would be just to try your best. Like, no one's expecting anything crazy from a student right now with all the stress going on. I feel like no one can really hold you accountable for not being the best you can be. I would just say take it easy, but make sure that you're putting your best foot forward.
Absolutely. Wise words from an intelligent young woman. Kayla, thank you for joining us. We will continue the conversation. टॉपिक ऐसे ही हम डिस्कस करते रहेंगे. यहाँ पे एक छोटी ब्रेक के लिए रुक रहे हैं. आप कहीं ना जाओ, ब्रेक के बाद बातें करेंगे. Stay tuned to Straight Talk. Welcome back from the break. You're watching Straight Talk on Jus Hindi. मैं आश्मिता आपकी host. We are discussing how COVID-related shutdowns and various quarantines are affecting higher education in the United States. The big headline around this topic is just today, Cal State University public schooling system announces that they will not be reopening in the fall for in-person classes. Basically, that means that about 500,000 people जो इस school system के साथ जुड़े हुए हैं, students, faculty, workers, employees that gather on a daily basis in the different campuses all throughout the state will not be coming in person for the majority of their work. This is a big announcement from Cal State because they are the nation's leader in the public schooling system. They are the largest four-year public school system in the United States. जो उनका decision इस fall reopening issue के ऊपर will no doubt affect all of the other universities across the country. So we have to keep an eye on how universities respond to this announcement today. As of today, most schools, most universities, private and public, have not made a clear announcement on whether they will or will not be opening in-person classes in the fall. But surely, in the next few weeks, we can expect to see more of that. What is the big takeaway here, right? The big theme जो हम बार-बार discuss कर रहे हैं इस pandemic में जो बार-बार उभर के आ रही है is money versus health. Right? Economy versus public safety, right? The simple answer to that, and of course this is a very complicated debate, but the simple answer is you can't have an economy, you cannot have money if you do not have a healthy population. And to have a healthy population, you have to first do what is required to keep your population healthy. जब universities and higher education schools की बात आती है, you know, there was a time जब ये pandemic पहले शुरू हुआ था February, March, जब लोगों का समझना था, and even the experts, even the doctors at the time thought coronavirus सबसे ज़्यादा impact करता है elderly population को, जो हमारे बुजुर्ग हैं जिनको शायद ऑलरेडी कोई रेस्पिरेटरी इलनेस हो या कोई और बीमारी हो, डायबिटीज़, शुगर, हाई ब्लड प्रेशर, ऐसी चीज़ें, किडनीज़, अगर आपको कोई प्री एग्जिस्टिंग कंडीशन है या आप एक उम्र से ज़्यादा आपकी उम्र है, then you are more susceptible, you're more vulnerable to the virus. But then as the facts emerge, जैसे जैसे हम इस वायरस के बारे में और हमने learn किया, you know, everyone around the world realized, oh wait, ये तो young लोगों को भी affect करता है and बड़े deadly तरीके में, right? Of course, you know, we see right now that the elderly have a harder time recovering when they get sick than younger people do. But that doesn't mean that this virus is not lethal for some young people, चाहे वो 20s and 30s के क्यों ना हो. But इसमें भी एक और चीज़ आज रिलीज़ हुई है जो जिस headline ने हमें एक और level of concern दे दिया है, which is the emergence of this mystery illness in young children. You might have heard of this illness. It's referred to as PMIS, which is the Pediatric Multisystem Inflammatory Syndrome. इससे ज़्यादा, you know, there is not much information about this PMIS, but the point here is this mystery illness affects young kids. In New York City alone, we've had 3 deaths. A 5-year-old, a 7-year-old, and an 18-year-old have passed away as of today from this mystery illness. New York City में जहाँ 82 confirmed cases थे PMIS के, उनमें से 50 plus were COVID positive. So, you know, once again, this is now not a virus that just affects the elderly, that just affects people with pre-existing conditions, just affects, you know, 20, 30-year-olds that may have breathing problems. This is now affecting children. And when we think about reopening schools, when we think about reopening universities where kids, you know, young kids, जिनको शायद safety के measures उतनी नहीं पता हो that you would expect an adult to know, or college students that, you know, part of the college experience is going to, you know, class together, to lectures, to dining halls, to parties, to hanging out with your friends and doing recreational activities like sports and pep rallies. You know, how can you expect you know, safety, how can you guarantee safety, you know, knowing what we know today about this virus to those students, to those children in those situations, right? And if we cannot guarantee safety, are we as a country, are we as a population ready to put our children in harm's way because these universities want to make sure they get their tuition every year? And जहाँ पे tuition की बात आती है, once again, you know, जैसे हम अपने guest के साथ discuss कर रहे थे, who is who's going to be a college freshman in the fall, you know, college tuition in the United States is one of the most expensive in the entire world. And for the most part, it's with good reason. The United States has some of the best universities in the world, and so you pay to have that name on your resume when you graduate. You pay for that in-person experience with those professors. You pay to go sit in those lecture halls and get that one-on-one or that group attention that is part of your education. And if you cannot get that, but you're still paying full tuition, where's the fairness in that, right? So this is something to consider. A lot of colleges across the United States will be making these decisions in the coming weeks. हम आपको हर एक चीज़ की जानकारी यहाँ provide करेंगे. We will keep you up to date. If you have young children, school-age children, or college-age children that can share their experiences with us, whether it's about going to college in the fall, whether it's about taking online classes right now, मैं आपको ज़रूर request करती हूँ आप हमें contact करें अपने experience के साथ. We will bring those topics and those comments on this program in the coming weeks. You can write to us at ashmita@justbroadcasting.com or info@justbroadcasting.com. You can also call in live and ask your questions and then have a discussion with us about whatever you're thinking on these topics. But once again, the main point here is we should all be thinking in terms of, where do you draw the line between economic growth and public safety, right? And once again, even though it's a very complicated issue, the simple answer is this: you cannot have an economy if you do not have a healthy public. And जहाँ public की safety की बात आती है, जो United States की university systems हैं, you can kind of already see how they could be a hotbed for the spread of COVID. And without adequate testing, without adequate contact tracing capabilities, a lot of these schools have to really consider what kind of risk they're putting their students in, what kind of harm they could cause to not just their hundreds of thousands of students that will come and attend in-person classes, but to everyone else that those students will go see after, right? Because it's not a question anymore of you're young, you'll be fine. हमें पता है इस वायरस के बारे में कि अगर आप positive हो, you could be someone who doesn't show any symptoms. आपको पता भी नहीं हो सकता कि आप positive हो COVID के, and you can spread that, right? So unless the university systems have some level of mass testing to test their student body and contact tracing facilities in place, contact tracing being अगर आप किसी को test करते हो and वो positive निकल आते हैं, then आप उनसे पूछो that who all have you seen, who all have you come into contact with, and then you go and then talk to those people and you ask them, okay, are you positive? You test them, you find out if they're positive, negative, and then you then continue the process if they are positive. If they're positive, then you have to then continue the chain and ask them who they all have seen. So this is a very labor-intensive, time-intensive process. The federal government itself doesn't have an easy answer on how big businesses, how local governments, how cities and states should even reopen around this. So, understandable that colleges and universities across the country are struggling with the same question. But, once again, you always need someone to lead in the right direction. And we can see Cal State Public University System's decision today to not reopen in the fall is definitely a step in the right direction, coming from the largest four-year public university system in the United States. Once again, I should remind you, Cal State has about 500,000 people that come together on a daily basis across their 20-plus campuses in California. So you can imagine another big school system is the New York Public State School System. So we will keep an eye to see कि New York इस announcement के साथ कैसे respond करते हैं. But from California, this is a very a positive thing that they have announced, and hopefully other schools will follow suit, because once again, it's not just about the way the science is progressing, it's the timing of all of this, right? जैसे Dr. Anthony Fauci and बाकी medical experts ने कल Senate में testimony दी that they are very concerned about the country reopening without adequate testing, without adequate contact tracing. They're concerned because they know that these things are not in place, and they're concerned about a second wave hitting. And that second wave, the timing of that lines up exactly with the fall flu season and with the fall school reopening. So once again, timing is everything here, and we'll keep an eye on that. Thank you for watching our program tonight. Once again, you can always write to us. आपका कोई comment, कोई feedback, कोई आप topics discuss करना चाहते हैं हमारे साथ, जरूर हमें लिखिए. ashmita@justbroadcasting.com, info@justbroadcasting.com. नमस्कार.